All right, welcome to 10-Minute Book Club. We are on page 52, halfway through where it says because. All right. Because I still had a little time before I had to speak, I went to the green room so I could pause and reflect on what I had just learned. I was feeling emotional and I wanted to take time to let my thinking catch up to my feelings. So I started to ask myself some questions. How was I feeling? The answer was sad. Living under communist rule for generations had beaten people down, discouraged them, and made them cynical. It's hard. It's hard to get ahead when you have little hope. What could I do? I could show them my heart. For some of these people, perhaps no leader had ever told them he cared about them and wanted them to succeed. How could I do that? I could let them know that I knew what their situation was and felt for them. I could tell them that I would be just like them if I had grown up in that environment, but that there is a higher road for a leader, one where leaders add value to others. I could help them understand that even if they had never been valued by their leaders, they could become leaders who added value to others. They could become change agents for the future success of their country and themselves. I then took a moment and prayed, asking God to help me deliver that message with clarity and integrity. All right, one sec. I didn't completely abandon what I planned to speak about that day, but I sure come sit by me. Right here, over here, on this side. Sorry, guys. Okay, let's say hi to my friend. I didn't completely abandon what I planned to speak about that day, but I sure modified it for and tailored it to my audience. And one of the first things I said, which I repeated often that first day, was, "My name is John, and I'm your friend." Aiden, you can sit by me, or you can go back in your bed, but you need to stop screaming. Oh, are you okay? Oh, I'm sorry. You want to go snuggle daddy? Okay. And one of the first things I said that. I said it sincerely, and I also used it to help soften some hard but humorous truths I was delivering. At first, they weren't sure how to react to that statement. After a while, they started to anticipate it. By the end of the day, when I said it, they knew a zinger was coming, and they laughed in anticipation. And the next day, when I came in and prepared to speak, my translator said that everyone was saying that phrase to one another. That's when I realized that they understood that I was cheering them on and really wanted to help them. It's never enough for me to just show up and give a good speech when I've been invited to an event. Every time I speak, I want to do two things: add value to the people I talk to and exceed the expectations of the person who invited me. It's likely I would have failed on both counts on this trip if I hadn't taken the time to pause, let the honest insights from my interpreter soak in, and change my agenda to match what my audience needed. The power of pausing. If you're nearly as old as I am, you may remember an old slogan once used by Coca-Cola. They called Coke the pause that refreshes. That's what reflection is to someone who desires to grow. Learning to pause allows growth to catch up with you. That's the law of reflection. Here are my observations concerning the power of the pause and how reflection can help you to grow. Reflection turns experience into insight. For over 2,000 years, people have been saying that experience is the best teacher. According to one expert, the earliest recorded version of this saying came from Roman Emperor Julius Caesar, who wrote, "Experience is the teacher of all things," in De Bello Tivoli. Whatever. With all due respect, I have to disagree with that statement. Experience is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience is. The only reason Caesar was able to make that claim is because he had learned much by reflecting on his life and writing about it. Shannon, do you want to read?
There's an old joke that experience is a hard teacher because the test is given first and the lesson is given afterward. That's true, but only if the person takes time to reflect after the experience. Otherwise, you receive the test first and the lesson may never come. People have innumerable experiences every day, and many learn nothing from them because they never take time to pause and reflect. That's why it is so important to pause and let understanding catch up with us. I once heard that at the turn of the century there was a buggy whip factory that had made major improvements in their manufacturing process. They made the best quality whips, and they were continuing to improve them. No other manufacturer in the industry compared. There was just one problem. They were working at a time when the automobile was being introduced, and it wasn't long before the entire nation would change to the horseless carriage. The company soon went out of business. I can't help wondering what the outcome might have been if the leaders of the company had taken the time to pause, understand that their experience was trying to teach them, and make changes in the course they were on. Number 2, everyone needs a time and a place to pause. I have yet to meet a person who doesn't benefit from pausing and reflecting. In fact, stopping to reflect is one of the most valuable activities people can do to grow. It has much greater value to them than even motivation or encouragement. Why? Because pausing allows them to make sure that they're on the right track. After all, if someone is going down the wrong road, he doesn't need motivation to speed up. He needs to stop, reflect, and change course. In my book, Thinking for a Change, I encourage people to identify or create a thinking place. Did I do that because there is some magic in having a designated place to pause and think? No, I did it because if you go to the trouble to create a place to pause and think, and you schedule the time to go there, you'll probably actually use it, and you'll benefit from it. Most people are pretty busy. There are a lot of demands on them, and they rush from place to place trying to get things done. Along the way, they have certain experiences that are life markers. They go to a place or are part of an event or meet a person that in some way marks them for life because something important happened. Often these markers identify for them a time of transition, change, or transformation. If we don't take the time to pause and reflect, we can miss the significance of such events. Reflection allows those experiences to move from being the life markers to life makers. If we pause to allow growth to catch up with us, it makes our lives better because we not only better understand the significance of what we experienced, but we can implement changes and course corrections as a result. We are also better equipped to teach others from the wisdom we have gained. Number 3, pausing with intention expands and enriches thinking. Study the lives of the great people who have made an impact on the world, and you will find that in virtually every case, they spent a considerable amount of time alone thinking. Every significant religious leader in history spent time in solitude. Every political leader who had an impact on history practiced the discipline of solitude to think and plan. Great artists spend countless hours in their studios or with their instruments, not just doing, but exploring their ideas and experiences. Most leading universities give their faculty time not only to teach, but to think, research, and write. Time alone allows people to sort through their experience, put it into perspective, and plan for the future. If you are a leader, you can probably take the normal busyness of life and multiply it by 10. Leaders are so action-oriented and have so many responsibilities that they are often guilty of moving all the time and neglecting to stop and take time to think. Yet this is one of the most important things leaders can do. A minute of thought is worth more than an hour of talk. I strongly encourage you to find a place to think and to discipline yourself to pause and use it, because it has the potential to change your life. It can help you to figure out what's really important and what isn't. As writer and Catholic priest Henry J.M. Newen observed, when you are able to create a lonely place in the middle of your actions and concerns, Your successes and failures slowly can lose some of their power over you. Number 4, when you take time to pause, use your eyes. When you take time to pause and reflect, there are really 4 basic directions your thinking should go. Investigation.
Our timer, Shannon.
Okay,
We'll
we'll
talk
start
about our eyes later.
Yep.
You know what I love about this? This is an epiphany I've had in the past year, is like, honestly, rushing through life is not helpful. Like, I feel like when my kids were in school, and this is with quarantine, I feel like this is what's happened, is like rushing through life makes it makes you not reflect, right? And so I just feel like it's less meaningful because you're just like going through the motions just so fast. And that's how like our world works most of the time. Like everyone's going. And like people have to consciously make the decision to slow down. And honestly, I feel so much more productive since I started slowing down. Like way more. And like not multitasking as much.
All people.
I don't know if we have a toaster. So anyways, slowing down to speed up is like one of my favorite slogans now because it's so true. And we just slow down and take the time, like our brain can think more clearly, like we can hear the spirit better, and it's just way better. And that's another reason why I chose the homeschool, because I'm like, our kids need space and time to like learn, and if they're rushing through school all day, like they aren't learning very effectively, you know. So some schools do that. I've always been a public school advocate, but I'm just excited to try out homeschool and see how that goes.
I really, really love this topic. I didn't really like just even this morning, I was just in awe of the benefit of just taking time to just pause and set my intentions. Yesterday, I had a kind of a rough day. There's just, I don't know, just sometimes you have those days where it doesn't make sense. It feels like you're not moving forward. You can really see your weaknesses. And it was one of those days, and I woke up this morning and I was just really struggling with it, but I sat down. And as soon as I sat down with my pen in my hand, it's like the inspiration started to come. I could see things clearly. I could get direction. And within like 5 minutes, I had a totally different attitude, and I could see clearly the lessons from the day before. I could see clearly God's hand in my life. I could see clearly that everything was okay. And I would have totally missed that had I just skipped that step. And I see that again and again and again.
Totally agree. I love that, April. It's so powerful. I had an experience too where one night in the middle of the night I was like flooded by all these thoughts of like anxiety and like just thinking that, I don't know, it was an interesting experience. It was like Satan, basically. Like I could tell it was him like flooding my thoughts with all of these insecure things. And I like, in the morning I got up, I sat in my closet, I did my normal stuff, and I was able to work through it with pen and paper and just with prayer and breathing. And it was like, took an hour for sure of like intentional breathing through it and thinking through it. But it was powerful. And like a problem that would have, it was with my marriage, a problem that would have probably made me angry for like a full week before, I was able to work through in like an hour, you know? So powerful. All right, ladies, have an awesome Friday. I will be on Momentum Movement at 3 to 5. I'm going to do my IPA from 2 to 3 instead of 1 to 2 today. So I just have a big chunk so we can like be at the beach today. So we're kind of excited. Okay, so I will see you guys later and have a good rest of your day.
Bye.